Hey everyone, welcome back to Verified Gains. Happy Saturday. It looks to be a pretty warm day here in New York City, so quite excited for today. In the meantime, let's dive right into the Bitcoin charts. So on the last video, which was on the 14th on Monday, basically, you know, we're chopping sideways the whole week. And in terms of Bitcoin, previously, I had drawn this local resistance line at $85,000. And, we retested it time and time again, but never really consolidated above it. And today, it looks like we're going to reattempt at closing above the local resistance line at 85 and $85,200. So for Bitcoin, that is my target. Actually, I did want to turn our attention to the Bitcoin dominance, which we really haven't looked at it in a while. Um, at first, yesterday, when we first had this red candle in a long time, I thought, maybe it would be a signal for an alt season, because usually in an alt season, we would see a lower Bitcoin dominance, and that makes sense, right? Because the proportion of Bitcoin as a total market cap of the cryptocurrency market would decrease if there was an alt season. However, I'm not sure if that is really going to be the case. Just zooming out over here, going back to the previous cycle, we went up to a max of 73%. Back in 2017. Also, let me just see. Also, around 70% right here. So, if we keep going up to 70, 75% in terms of Bitcoin dominance, then we actually might not see an alt season until after the Bitcoin cycle top. So, that is sort of a revision of my previous hypotheses surrounding an alt season. So that would be interesting to see. Another possibility is we do see a mini alt season over the summertime. And during that time, we hope to draw down in terms of Bitcoin dominance into the 60s, maybe the 50s, and then another bounce back up to 70%. By the way, it would be very interesting to see this high of a dominance in this cycle because, some people are saying, well, yeah, now like things such as Solana or other layer one altcoins are, you know, being invested heavily, so we won't really see a Bitcoin dominance as high as we've seen in previous cycles. But, it's possible that, we're all going to be proven wrong just because we have the Bitcoin ETF, a lot of big institutional investors who are really focused solely on Bitcoin, whether that is a hedge against inflation, a digital equivalent to gold, and whatnot. So next, I want to look at Solana. So, so like I said, I dollar cost average into Solana every other week. Um, Yesterday, I actually haven't bought in just yet. I am, observing the local trend before I do that. However, very good news, right? So, since the video on the 14th, we retested 126, bounced back up, and although we have not retested 126 just yet, we're actually going up and up back towards, the previous maybe, 145, 143 if I had to guess. So, why didn't I buy in? Well, it wasn't really the greatest entry point, and I know I'm kind of going against the dollar cost average, but I will explain another reason why in just a little bit. But in terms of Solana, if you do start to go back down towards 126, then I am planning on dollar cost averaging. And I do want to because I want my Solana, holdings to be as big as possible leading into the summertime. So, I have other places to spend money right now, but the goal is over the summer, try to increase my holdings as much as possible. And it'll be a very aggressive investment, dollar cost averaging into Solana. So what did I do instead? Well, actually, I bought more PopCat. Okay. So what am I seeing right now? So I'm seeing that Bitcoin has broken above or is trying to break above the local resistance line at $85,000, number one. Number two, I'm seeing that the Solana at $126, that local support line is holding very well and we're approaching the 140s mark, number two. So then, my prediction is that the meme coins, the layer twos and layer threes, all these alternative assets that are based on the Solana network, which is also largely based on the Bitcoin market, is now going to go up. But what do we see right now? We see that actually we haven't really seen any explosive movements of PopCat. And that's why I decided to dollar cost average into PopCat pretty much every day, every other day for the past week. And you know what? Over the weekend, as long as we remain below, by the way, I'm going to change the color to red because technically it's a resistance line. We retested and ended up, staying below the, 24.5 cent mark over here. So, over the weekend and the next 1 week, I'm going to continue to buy in, dollar cost average into PopCat. And that's it. So, this week it's possible that, 30% of my paycheck, instead of buying Solana, I might just put it all into PopCat, guys. I mean, I've now bought so much since Liberation Day that I've practically doubled my PopCat holdings um, over the past like 1 to 2 weeks, which is pretty crazy. It's very aggressive. It's very aggressive, but I'm going all in this year. Okay, I'm going all in this year. So that is my strategy with PopCat. Um, and I really hope that once people, start swapping their, local profit from that little movement in Solana, then we're going to see some explosive movements in the meme coin sector. So um, that's really all I have for this week. If anything happens, I'll let you guys know. But I really haven't seen anything too significant. So if anything, I'll make another video on Monday. So until then, if you're in an area where it's going to be a nice weekend, then enjoy the nice weather. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening in. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.